Hello everyone, welcome to assignment 3 for HSC 318, Rural and Remote Health. Now this is the one that seems to engender a lot of fear and loathing because it's probably not something that most of you have done before. However, there will be considerable time spent on it in class and in the assignment tutorials, and it's a matter of working through it and asking questions either in class and or on the assignment angst discussion board 3. So this assignment is it's a case study of a service delivery issue in a rural or remote primary healthcare context. So this is the task. What you have to do is find one, or if you want to, find two current journal articles. Now they must be journal articles, not newspaper articles or anything from the media. So find one or two current journal articles on a remote or rural health case study in a particular area of interest in regards to health service delivery. So it could be to do with allied health professionals. Could be like a community intervention in a health context, health promotion, or it could be about nurses or doctors or any other health professionals. When you search for your journal or journal articles, your one or your two journal articles, please go through the CDU library search portal, and our fabulous librarians, if you haven't already discovered them, are very helpful. So, like I said, it's up to you whether you choose one or two articles. You can use two as long as they're on the same topic and use them for comparison purposes. But for most people, it's probably easier and more straightforward if you just choose one current journal article. So read the journal article that you've located and also identify the relevant factors that are mentioned in the Wakeman definition. Now the Wakeman definition, it's quite old now, but it still holds true, and he's only talking about remote health, but I think it applies equally to rural and remote health, and it's still current today. Remote health is an emerging discipline with distinct sociological, historical and practice characteristics. Its practice in Australia is characterised by geographical, professional and often social isolation of practitioners. It involves a strong multidisciplinary approach, overlapping and changing role of practitioners, of team members, a relatively high degree of GP substitution, and by that he means often there aren't medical doctors located in rural and remote areas, and so there are other health professionals that may or may not take on some of what is traditionally perceived as a GP or doctor's role. Practitioners also requiring public health, emergency and other extended clinical skills. These skills in remote health systems need to be suited to working in a cross-cultural context, serving a small, dispersed and often highly mobile population. Serving populations with relatively high health needs, a physical environment of climatic extremes, and I'm sure those of you who have been or lived rural and or remote, I relate to that, plus a communications environment of rapid technological change. We've certainly seen that over the last 10-20 years. It's made a big difference. When I first went working remote, we didn't even have a telephone. It was all over the radio. Now, you've got, most places have got internet connection, you've got email, you've got social media and so on and so forth. So that definition that I just went through describes many of the common characteristics of remote health in Australia and to a certain extent rural health, and outlines the health practice necessary for the delivery of services in rural and remote contexts. So that's essentially what we're focusing on in this assignment. When you're analysing the journal article, as your case study. You need to identify both the characteristics, which are geographical and professional, and the context, working cross-culturally, small, dispersed and often highly mobile populations with relatively high health needs and physical. You'll see this when you get to look at the matrix that we've developed based on Wakeman's definition. So what you then need to do, so you need to identify and discuss the key and distinctive features of health service delivery in the specific rural or remote context that you're talking about in regards to the journal article. You need to identify and analyse specific issues to do with health service delivery in this specific rural or remote context. You also need to demonstrate an understanding of the impact of the features and issues that you've already identified of health service delivery on rural and remote health professionals' practice. So this will be a lot easier when we can go through articles, so I'm just giving you the overview now. You also need to be able to present a cohesive and clearly outlined and supported argument as to why you're taking a particular position. And if I can make a plea to please proofread and edit your assignment, you can save everyone a lot of grief. You're expected, as said for the other assignments, the CDU APA 6th referencing style and use appropriate references. They must be current within the last 5 years. Check the assignment for plagiarism. Clearly label the assignment file as requested, so your surname or family name first, the initial of your first name or the name you preferred to be called by, the unit code, and your student number and the assignment name or number. This is so we can easily identify who the particular assignment belongs to when we're marking. Now, what I've set out here in the LearnLine section is a case study matrix to deconstruct, if you like, Wakeman's definition and use that to apply to your particular topic that's in your journal article that you're using for your case study. You do not have to use this matrix if you don't want to. It's one way of looking at it, but you don't have to use it if it's too confusing or it's not the way you operate. It will be used in class to go through various topics, and what I've done in the past is choose a particular journal article and go through that with the class. And I use the matrix to do that. However, but as I've said before, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I've also given instructions in LearnLine on how you can set out your case study report. You don't have to follow this to the letter, but there must be consistency in how you do it, and you must address all the marking criteria. So basically, like any piece of academic writing, you need to have a beginning, a middle, and the end. You must have a conclusion. So you can set out your case study report like this. You have the introduction, which states the purpose of the assignment and the overall argument of your case study or studies. Includes the title and full reference of your journal article at the beginning of the assignment. The journal article must be current within 5 years. You must also provide a copy of the article or articles or a working link, because the marker isn't going to go searching for it. So you must describe the main issue that you've chosen above that will be examined and outline the actual situation which will be discussed by looking at a particular journal article. So that's your introduction and background. And how you might want to look at how does this relate to or match Wakeman's definition of remote health? Is it relevant? Is it a useful way of looking at it? And if so, how? Then explore and analyse the details of the case or cases and identify and analyse the issues. You can, if they present themselves, identify potential solutions and make recommendations, but only if these come out of the particular case study. There may not be solutions or recommendations to be made. and then a conclusion. A lot of people fall down here because they forget or don't think they need to do a conclusion. But as I said before, with any piece of academic writing, you need a conclusion. I think if you approach this systematically and, like everything else, don't leave it till the last moment, you should be fine. If you can't attend class, make sure you have a look at the Collaborate recordings, because this is not something that you can just pick up at the last moment or do instinctively. I wish you well.